Hey guys, so today I wanted to do a video wanting to talk about mental illness, specifically anxiety and social anxiety, both of which I have, and just some of my experiences with having anxiety. And I kind of wanted to do this because I know that some people like watching these kind of videos. It might help them in some way if they're dealing with similar issues, or they can maybe relate to it. Although it's not always the most effective way of treating it. I know for me, going to a psychologist was helpful a little bit, but it wasn't, it didn't help me as much as I thought it would. I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember, my entire life. I know some people have developed it over time after a certain point, but this is pretty much all I've ever known. I've always had pretty bad social anxiety, especially. I just kind of wanted to talk about how people perceive my behavior and how kind of a lot of times people will think that I'm just shy or that I just need to get out of my shell. And these things are not true. I am not a shy person. If you know me well enough, you will know that I tend to talk a lot. I am introverted. I'm very introverted, but I still talk a lot about things that are really interesting to me and things that I feel are actually more important. And I'm not really shy when it comes to that type of thing. I'm just anxious when I'm out in public and around people I don't know very well, or around really a lot of people in general, even if I know them well. So being shy is more a personality trait. If you had anxiety or not, you would still feel shy and not want to talk a lot or just be a quiet person. That's not really who I am. So I think that's one misconception that, some people have, is that, it's not anxiety, it's just an excuse and you're just shy. So I'm really, that's really irritating to me. There are some people who have social anxiety who are outgoing people and who may be extroverts, and honestly I feel like that would be, a really hard situation to be in. First of all, because you want to socialize with a lot of people, but you're inhibited by the anxiety that you have. So I think it's kind of like a good thing that I'm an introvert, so that it's easier to deal with for me. That's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have. They just don't understand here, or they like play it down as being just, oh, everybody has a little anxiety, like when they're giving speeches or maybe when they're having an interview. But it's really, I think, if you have an anxiety disorder, it's so much more than that, and a lot of people don't understand that. So my family knows about it, and my fiance knows about it. People that know who I am know that I'm an awkward person, but they don't necessarily know that it's due to me being anxious. But my family is pretty, supportive, and they try to be helpful, but sometimes they still are kind of like, okay, you just need to get over yourself. And my fiance is like the most understanding person. He has, he doesn't have an anxiety disorder, but he's very educated. He educated himself about it, and he, doesn't just make assumptions based on how he thinks someone's behavior is. So that's been really helpful. But, social anxiety, and even regular anxiety, like when I'm doing things, it really impacts my daily life. For example, I have driving anxiety. I really can't drive in downtown situations or on the highway. The merging and having a lot of traffic really freaks me out, and I just get really, I feel like I get so much anxiety to the point that I'm not safe when I put myself in those situations, because a lot of times when I am anxious, I become like I can't focus well, I become really shaky, I start blushing, I start sweating, and you know, when I feel under pressure, anxious, I cannot be the full, I cannot do things to the full potential of how I can do them, if that makes sense. Like, I make a fool out of myself. And it's not just my anxiety talking like you're making a fool out of myself, like literally, I become like this frazzled person that really can't do things well. So that kind of is not cool, especially when I'm driving, you know, a car and I could injure other people. And so whenever, you know, I have to go into a situation like that, I'm usually not the one driving, so I have to rely on other people for that. And there's also situations with social anxiety where I kind of work myself up about having to do certain things that, like, you know, I try to avoid a lot of social interaction and going out a lot, but when I really have to partake in a social interaction, then I work myself up over it, especially if it's something that's really like pressuring, that I have to do soon, that's necessary. So those sorts of things, it really affects me. I mean, some things it's kind of, you know, help me find what I really like to do, like with my job, which is kind of interesting because, you know, it's a mental illness. It shouldn't be positive thing, and it, like, most of the time it isn't. But in terms of my job, I've only had one job working working away from home, and that was, I worked for about 2 years at my karate studio, and that was purely because I got the job purely because I had known the people at the karate studio for a long time, and these were, you know, people that I saw on a very regular basis, so I was somewhat comfortable with being there. I'd gone to the karate studio for almost 10 years by the time I had worked there, and so I worked there as like a customer service person, doing inventory and stuff, and it was kind of hard. Even though it was a place I was familiar with, I had to talk on the phone with people, you know, I had to talk to people at the desk when they're doing stuff. So if I was in a situation like working at, I don't know, Target or something, I don't know how I would have really handled that. It's sad to say, but yeah, it's only because the people that were coming there were constantly the same people. There weren't a lot of new people, and when there were new people, it was a really stressful situation for me. So now the job that I have now is I am working as a general transcriptionist and captioner. So that means that I basically have a little workstation set up in my house, and I work from online. I don't talk to people, I just email people. I've only had to deal with phone interviews every so often, but not very often at all. And so I basically type up what people are saying all day. A lot of people think this is boring, but I personally love it, and I didn't know you could actually, you know, make a career out of it, but you can. So that was really a great thing for me to figure out, and I'm self-employed, and I get to learn and listen to lectures and interviews every day, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, I guess anxiety has kind of helped me find that, because I don't know if I would have looked as in-depth into working online and working from home if I did not have anxiety. So yeah, those are some of the ways that anxiety has influenced my life, or in good or bad ways. And yeah, so I hope, you know, some of you, maybe you can relate to this. Maybe listening to some of my experiences may have helped you. And if you want to know more about how to find work from home, or if my job sounds interesting to you, you can definitely, message me, leave me a comment, and I can talk to you about it if you're interested in it. Sorry if I rambled on a lot. I'm kind of prone to doing that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!